The room was filled with the scent of warm vanilla candles, the soft glow casting shadows on the walls. The sheets were tangled around your body, your breath still uneven from the night you had just shared. Jungkook lay beside you, his breath still heavy, his chest rising and falling in slow, satisfied motions. His arm was lazily draped over your waist, fingers tracing invisible patterns on your bare skin as he tried to steady himself. The warmth of his body against yours was overwhelming, comforting, intoxicating. Are you okay? He asked, his voice deep and husky, still laced with the remnants of passion. You let out a soft whimper, shifting slightly only to groan at the soreness creeping through your limbs. I can't move, you admitted, burying your face into the pillow. Jungkook chuckled, reaching out to brush your damp strand away from your face. I told you to tell me if it was too much. He teased, pressing a lazy kiss against your forehead. You swatted at his arm weakly, making him laugh. You didn't listen when I said stop either. You mumbled, pouting up at him. His lips curled into a smirk. You didn't sound like you wanted me to stop. He teased, amusement dancing in his eyes. Your cheeks flamed and you turned away, hiding your face against the sheets. Oh, I hate you. Jungkook let out a deep chuckle before wrapping an arm around your waist, pulling you closer until your bodies were pressed together. No, you don't, he whispered, his lips grazing your shoulder. You closed your eyes, letting yourself melt into his embrace, even though exhaustion weighed heavily on your limbs. The warmth of his touch sent a thrill through all over you again. He was your everything, your professor, your secret husband, your lover who knew exactly how to worship you until you forgot everything else. But as you lay there tangled in his arms, a sudden realization sent a jolt of panic through you. Jungkook, you gasped, turning to him with wide eyes. He hummed lazily, eyes half-lidded in bliss. Hmm? I have an exam tomorrow. How am I supposed to sit for 3 hours like this? You practically shrieked, attempting to sit up but immediately regretting it as a sharp ache shot through your body. Jungkook burst into laughter, pulling you back down against his chest. Oh baby, you should have thought about that before tempting me tonight. You groaned, hiding your face in his neck as he held you close. You were the one who started it. You accused, your voice muffled against his skin. His lips curled into a smug smile as he rolled you onto your back, hovering over you with a dark, knowing look. And you loved every second of it, he murmured, pressing soft kisses down your throat, making your heart race all over again. Jungkook, you whined, pushing at his shoulders even though your body betrayed you by arcing into his touch. He smirked against your skin. Don't worry, love, I'll help you study, but after one more round. Before you could respond, his lips found yours again, kissing you deeply, passionately, as if he was trying to convey every ounce of his love for you. Your fingers curled into his hair, returning the kiss until you felt your body melt into his once more. Breaking away breathlessly, you placed a shaky hand on his chest, trying to catch your breath. I can't handle one more, Jungkook, or else I won't be able to stand up from the bed tomorrow. He grinned mischievously, his fingers tracing along your hips. Then I'll carry you, he teased. You groaned, swatting at his arm. No need, I don't want unnecessary attention and exposure. Jungkook laughed, his chest shaking against yours. Are you sure? I wouldn't mind showing off my wife. Everyone should know how much I adore you. You narrowed your eyes at him. Jungkook, you're impossible and shameless. He chuckled, tucking a stray strand of hair behind your ear. I'm not shameless, just obsessed with you. His voice was deep with affection. You sighed dramatically and exhausting. I can barely move because of you. Jungkook smiled. You weren't complaining earlier. In fact, if I recall correctly, you were the one begging for more. Your face flushed with heat and you smacked his chest lightly. Shut up. He only laughed, pressing a final kiss to your temple before pulling you into his arms. Fine, I'll behave for now, but you owe me after your exam. You sighed dramatically. How generous of you. He nuzzled into your hair, his warm breath fanning against your neck. Sleep now, love. I'll wake you up in time. And just like that, wrapped in his embrace, you drifted off, knowing that despite the soreness, despite the teasing, you wouldn't change a single thing about your rough yet beautiful night with your husband. Jungkook was already up by the time you stirred, standing by the dresser, adjusting his tie. He looked devastatingly handsome in his crisp white shirt and navy suit, the sight of him making your stomach flip. Morning, sleeping beauty, how are your legs? He greeted with a knowing smirk, watching as you winced while attempting to sit up. You glared at him. They hate you. He chuckled. Not my fault. You're irresistible. You rolled your eyes but couldn't suppress the smile tugging at your lips. Keep talking, Professor. I might just fail this exam out of spite. If you do, I'll personally tutor you, he said, walking over to the bed and crouching in front of you. I was going to offer you a ride to campus, but you look like you need a wheelchair. You grabbed the nearest pillow and threw it at him, making him laugh as he dodged it effortlessly. Jungkook? He held his hands up in surrender, still grinning. Okay, okay, come on. Let's get you ready. I made breakfast. You narrowed your eyes. You made breakfast? You never wake up before me. Jungkook leaned in, his lips brushing against yours. Had to make sure my wife had enough energy for her exam, didn't I? Your heart skipped a beat as you pulled him down for another kiss. You better be ready to spoil me after my exam. Jungkook grinned. Oh, trust me, sweetheart, I plan on it. You walked through the university hallway, trying your best to maintain a normal pace, but the slight ache in your legs made it obvious that something was off. Each step felt like a reminder of last night, and you internally cursed your professor husband for being so relentless. Just as you reached your locker, a familiar voice rang out. Well, 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 look who's struggling to walk today. Your best friend Mia smirked, leaning against the locker beside yours. Had a rough night, did we? You shot her a glare, trying to act nonchalant. Shut up. She let out a dramatic gasp. Oh my god, you did? I was joking, but now it's confirmed. She burst into giggles, nudging you with her elbow. You groaned, rubbing your temple. Can you lower your voice? Do you want the whole university to know? Mia crossed her arms, tilting her head. Hmm, let me think. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of hilarious watching the oh so perfect student struggling to walk after spending a long study session with a certain someone. Your cheeks burned as you pushed her away. Mia, I swear. She gasped dramatically again. Wait, don't tell me he kept you up all night. Oh my god. How do you even have the energy to stand right now? What did he do? Give me details. Covered her mouth with your hand, looking around frantically. Mia, stop. You're going to get me in trouble. She licked your hand, making you pull away in disgust. Ugh, you're gross. She giggled, wiggling her eyebrows. Not as gross as you and your professor hubby last night, I bet. You groaned, leaning your forehead against your locker. I just need to get through today without embarrassing myself. Mia grinned mischievously. Oh, this is going to be the most entertaining day ever. I can't wait to see how you handle sitting through his lecture without wincing. As you reached the lecture hall, you took a deep breath, trying to compose yourself. The moment you stepped inside, your eyes instinctively searched for him, and there he was, standing near the desk, flipping through some papers, looking so effortlessly handsome as ever. His sharp gaze lifted the second you entered, and for a brief moment, your eyes met. Your breath hitched. There was something in the way he looked at you, something knowing, something teasing. His lips twitched ever so slightly, and you knew he was amused. You quickly averted your gaze, pretending to be focused on finding a seat, but Mia wasn't going to let you off that easily. Did you see that? She whispered excitedly, pulling you to a seat near the middle. The way he looked at you, oh my god, it was like he was remembering every single thing he did to you last night. Mia, you hissed, swatting her arm. Can you not? She giggled, leaning in. You are blushing. I bet if he told you to steak after class, you would combust on the spot. You groaned, burying your face in your hands. I hate you. No, you love me, just like you love your very, very intense study session with a certain professor. You shot her a glare, but before you could retort, Jungkook's voice filled the room. Settle down, everyone, we are starting. Mia gave you one last smirk before straightening up, but not before whispering. This is going to be so much fun to watch. We'll begin the exam now. The exam papers were distributed, and you exhaled sharply, trying to push all distracting thoughts away. You needed to focus. This was important, but the moment you shifted in your seat, a sharp soreness shot through you, making you wince. Your legs clenched together instinctively, and you bit your lip, hoping no one noticed. Except someone did. Jungkook's sharp gaze flickered towards you from the front of the room. He didn't say anything, didn't even pause as he walked between the rows of desks. But you saw it, the knowing glint in his eyes. You quickly lowered your head, pretending to read the first question, but your fingers trembled slightly as you gripped your pen. Damn him, he knew. Minutes passed, but you were struggling not with the exam but with yourself. Every movement felt torturous, and the chair beneath you weren't helping. You shifted again, trying to find a more comfortable position, but the ache only deepened. A shadow loomed over your desk. Miss Ryan, Jungkook's deep voice murmured, smooth and unreadable. Is there a problem? Your breath hitched. Slowly you looked up, only to find his dark eyes locked onto yours. His face was impassive, but his gaze, oh, it was filled with amusement. You cleared your throat, forcing a calm expression. No, sir, I'm fine. Jungkook hummed, tilting his head slightly. Are you sure? His fingers tapped lightly against your desk and he leaned down, his voice dropping to something only you could hear. You seem uncomfortable. Your fingers clenched around your pen. You were not about to entertain this. Not here, not now. I'm fine, you repeated, keeping your tone firm. Jungkook didn't move immediately. His gaze flickered over your face as if searching for any sign of weakness. Then just when you thought he would leave, he leaned down ever so slightly, lips barely parted as he whispered, Next time don't push yourself so hard. Your breath stopped. Jungkook straightened up and walked away, acting as if nothing had happened, leaving you burning with embarrassment and something else you refused to acknowledge. Mia, of course, noticed everything. She was watching you like a hawk, her eyes practically sparkling with mischief. She scribbled something on the corner of her exam paper before subtly sliding it towards you. You are so done for. You groaned internally. This was going to be a long exam. The ride home was filled with silence, well, at least on your part. Jungkook, on the other hand, was far too entertained. He had one hand lazily gripping the steering wheel, the other resting comfortably on the gear shift, completely unbothered. Meanwhile, you sat stiffly in the passenger seat, arms crossed, lips pressed into a pout. Jungkook glanced at you and smiled. You are awfully quiet. Didn't your exam go well? No complaints today? Your eyes snapped to him and you huffed, shifting in your seat. Oh, I have plenty, Professor. You shot him a glare. My exam was good, luckily, but you were merciless back there. Jungkook chuckled, completely unfazed. You looked adorable when you were all flustered. Your jaw dropped. Adorable, you will call it? He grinned, eyes twinkling. Very. You groaned, throwing your head back. You are impossible. Jungkook hummed, then his voice softened. You were struggling though. He glanced at you briefly before focusing back on the road. You should have told me. Your fingers toyed with the hem of your shirt. And say what? Sorry, sir, but I can't sit properly because of last night. You shot him a pointed look. Yeah, no thanks. He laughed at that, the sound deep and rich, sending warmth through your chest, but then his teasing expression shifted, something softer settling in his gaze. I mean it though. If you are sore, I'll take care of it when we get home. Your cheeks burned, but your heart melted just a little. That's your fault in the first place. Jungkook smiled, and I'll gladly take responsibility for it. The rest of the drive was filled with small bickering and laughter, and by the time you reached home, your mood had lifted. As soon as you stepped inside, Jungkook didn't give you a chance to protest. He pulled you straight to the bedroom, making you lie down as he gently massaged your sore muscles. His touch was soothing, his fingers firm but careful, and before you knew it, you were melting under his care. You are really good at this, you mumbled sleepily, sighing as his hands worked on your tense shoulders. Jungkook chuckled, leaning down to press a soft kiss against your temple. Of course, gotta take care of my girl. Your heart flipped at that, and you smiled, turning your head to meet his gaze. I guess you're not entirely evil. He smiled. Oh, should I prove how good I can be? You shoved at his chest, laughing. Behave, Professor. He groaned dramatically, flopping beside you. Fine, but only because I have other plans. You raised an eyebrow. What plans? Jungkook propped himself up on one elbow, looking at you with that boyish grin that made your heart race. We are going out. Your brows furrowed. Out? Where? A date. He tugged you closer, his fingers playing with your hair. You have been through a lot today, and I think you deserve some spoiling. Your lips parted in surprise, warmth blooming in your chest. Really? Jungkook rolled his eyes fondly. Obviously, now go get dressed. Something comfy but cute. You sat up grinning. You are taking me out and calling me cute. Who are you and what have you done with my evil professor? He smiled, grabbing your wrist and pulling you back down onto his chest. Still evil. He murmured against your hair, just for everyone else. You get the good parts of me. Your heart melted at his words, and for a moment, you just lay there listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. You are unfair, you whispered, smiling against his shirt. Jungkook chuckled, wrapping his arms around you tighter. And yet you are still here.